Hi and welcome back to my channel. We've heard of so many stories about people who've gone from rags to riches, about people who fought all odds of life, who tried to survive, and not just survive, they would make it big. They would gain money, they would gain name, fame, and whatnot. Think about the CEOs, think about sports stars, about cine stars, and so many different people who would work against all challenges and gain a standing in society. But there are also examples of people who have given up the same riches for something more impactful, more meaningful, something called inner peace, or a search for the ultimate truth, or something as the same as being with God. Buddha was an example, a prince by right. He left all the comforts of his home, looking for truth, looking for nirvana, and he attained it. And there are so many other examples like that, which even today inspire us. Today's story is about someone, a similar person, a merchant from a town in Tamil Nadu, who gave up everything. And finally, he attained the feet of his God, the one he called Lord Shiva. So now let's go and look into this person's story. His name is Pattinathar. Let's journey back 600 years. 14th century Tamil Nadu. There was a vibrant town. It's still there today. It's called Thiruvenkadu. Now this town had a lot of merchant families. They all belonged to a community called the Chettiar community. Now these merchants, they had a lot of good business going on with other towns, and not only with other towns, with lands overseas. There was one family in this merchant community who, by the grace of Lord Shiva, had a son whom they named Thiruvenkadar. Now this family was so rich, it is said, that their compound wall was studded with precious gems, so that thieves didn't even have to come inside the home. They would just take their pick off the wall and walk off. That said, although the family was very rich, they gave a lot back to society. They really believed in charity. Thiruvenkadar lost his father at a very young age. He grew up to be a fine, successful young merchant. He was then married to a woman of the same community. Her name was Sibakalai. Now together, they were a wonderful couple. They had an amazing business, an excellent returns, good profits. At the same time, they would never say no to anyone who came to them, anyone who was in need. But all great stories have some problem in it. Although they had everything in life, they didn't have a child. And so they prayed a lot to Lord Shiva to grace them with a child. And nothing much happened until the 30th year of Thiruvenkadar. Now at that time, let's go to another part of Thiruvenkadu. Over there lived a Shiva couple. A couple who were devoted to Shiva. They were so devoted to Shiva that anything that they cooked that day, they would share it with the saints who would cross their home. In fact, they would cook every day for any saint who would cross their home. And in time, the couple became very poor. And yet they wanted to carry on their service. And so they were in trouble. One day, this is the game that Lord Shiva plays now, right? He comes in between because he wants to make his devotees happy. At night, he comes in the dream of this Shiva couple and tells them, there is a child. If you are to go tomorrow to the field, there will be a child over there. Bring the child and have him with you. You will be approached by my other devotee, Thiruvenkadar. He will come to you asking for a child, and you give him the child, and in return you ask him the riches so that you can continue your service. Now, not only Lord Shiva came in their dream, he also came in the dream of Thiruvengadar. And to Thiruvengadar he said, in the ends of the town there is this couple. Go looking for them. They have a child. And if you were to ask them for the child, they will give you the child. All you have to do in return is you have to give money, some part of your wealth. Thiruvengadar got up absolutely happy. His lord came to him in his dream and gave him a way out, and he's going to get a child. At the same time, the Shiva couple on the other end of town woke up very happy that they will get money so that they can do their service. The couple next day went into the field. They looked, and to their surprise, they did find a child over there under the vilva tree. They happily took the child home and were taking care of the child. And as the story goes, Thiruvengadar came looking for this couple and asked them, can you give me this child for my own? I will give you whatever wealth you need. And so in those days, they had something called like a tulabaram. Like it is the scales. On one part of the scale that have the child, and according to the child's weight, on the other side, they would put riches or money or any precious stones to equal the weight of the child, and the exchange would then happen. Now in the tulabaram, the child was placed on one side, and Thiruvengadar placed a lot of his riches to equal the weight of the child. And finally, both couples went away from this exchange extremely pleased. Thiruvengadar got something that, it's only God's blessing gave him. And the couple also got their riches, which is due to God's blessing. Now the son that Thiruvengadar took with him, he called him Marudavanan. Marudavanan was another fine young gentleman. Fine young man. He grew learning a lot from his father and from his mother, and he was excellent in his skills. He also became a very good merchant. At the age of 16, it was the custom in those days. When you attain the age of 16, the boys are then sent on a ship to go and make their first business. And so like other 16-year-olds in the community, Marudavanan also said tata to his father and went off on a ship to make his first business. He goes many lands and finally comes back. Now Thiruvengadar was waiting eagerly to see his son, because he wanted to know what his son has got back as riches or as part of the business, and to see how successful his son was. Every father would be so eager to see how successful their son is. Thiruvengadar was no different. And so he went halfway looking towards the port. But on the way there, he heard people laughing and saying that Thiruvengadar's son, he doesn't seem to be any match to his father. He bought tons of cow dung. The dried cow dung cakes. That's what he got. And Thiruvengadar was a little upset on hearing this. He said, no, they're just talking something, because my son wouldn't do something like that. He goes all the way to the port and he sees the ship that his son returned in. And when he goes inside, he is shocked, because what he sees there was what those people said as true. He saw dried cow dung cakes, and he was really upset and very ashamed. He asked the servants of the ship out there, where is Marudavanan? And he was told that Marudavanan has gone home to see you. And he says, okay, let me go back. And so immediately he leaves the ship and returns back home. He is so upset. He wants to really scold his son, because what have you got? Business. What business have you got for me? He goes there. He enters his home yelling. His wife comes running out. She has never seen him so angry. And she asks him, why are you so upset? He says, I want to see Marudavanan. Where is he right now? He said, oh, he just gave me this box and he stepped out he asked to give this box to you. And so both of them are confused. What box? And she runs in, she gets the box, and she gives it to him. Now, Tiruvengada takes the box and he opens it, wondering what has his son left for him. Inside, guess what he sees? He sees a piece of paper folded, and he sees the same cow dung cake. And imagine what he feels. Let's find out next week about the rest of the story. What happens to Mardavanan? Where did he go? And why did he leave one cow dung cake in that box for his father? And what was written in the paper? Shall we find out? Until next week, bye.